Hello and welcome to episode 192 of Heroes of Handheld. My name is Chris, and you might have noticed that Colin's been very quiet this week. That's because a couple of scheduling issues. I mean, you know who to blame. But it means I'm going to start, and then Colin's going to join us in a bit once he's had his tea. Apparently it's coming from the microwave. I reckon it's probably a steak bake and some of yesterday's chips would be my guess. Thank you very much for tuning into Heroes of Handheld this week. When Colin's here, we're going to talk about the iPhone 8 and the iPhone X announcements that happened last night. We've got some Vita news coming up. We've got some 3DS and Switch news coming up. But first, we're also going to be doing group chat later on as well. Thank you so much for your responses to that. First things first. Last week, we were talking about Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and there was a reaction on Twitter. One of our real listening pals and a really good guy called Noire tweeted in and said, why is Chris coming down? Paraphrasing here a bit, but basically I said there were things that I preferred in Minecraft versus Breath of the Wild. And the response was, why is Chris saying that? And to be fair, I did just kind of say it and move on. So I thought we'd do a little bit about Breath of the Wild because it has been out, 6 months now. And we're starting to think about Game of the Year here at Heroes of Handheld Towers. And all your favorite gaming sites are going to be thinking about Game of the Year. Most of them are probably going to give it to Breath of the Wild. The thing is, I want to start off and say, if you are enjoying Breath of the Wild, and I've enjoyed Breath of the Wild a lot, that's great. You do you. I hope you're enjoying games that you play. I do like Breath of the Wild. I think it is a good game. I just feel like it is going to I think it is going to be overrepresented in the industry's Game of the Years this year. I do really like it. I think it is a really good game, but for me, I think it gets a huge bonus from the fact it's a Zelda title. And I think if another game came out and it was called, I don't know, Chris's Quest Breath of the Wild, and it didn't have the Zelda label on it, it wouldn't be nearly as well received. And for me, the problems are, I think that the elements I think things like, RPG mechanics, upgradable weapons, upgradable armor. Okay, that's really cool for a Zelda game. We've never had that before, but other games have been doing that for years. And I think it's an open world Zelda. It's the biggest open world we've ever seen. You can climb everything, but I'm kind of like, well, you can climb everything, yes, but most of the time you climb up to the top of something, it takes you ages and you get a Korok seed, and there's 900 of them to get. I don't think that, for me, I've got to the point on Zelda now, I'm not really playing it nearly as often because the payoff you get isn't currently worth the time that I'm having to put into it. You spend ages on a puzzle and you get a couple of rupees for it, or you get a Korok seed, or you get a sword that you already kind of have. I do think it's a really good game, and I do think it's enjoyable. I just think that it gets this huge pass because it's a Zelda title, and I think a lot of the things that I really like about it are done better in other games. For example, it's a giant open world. Okay, cool. The reason I compared it to Minecraft is because Minecraft has got a really intricate crafting system, and Minecraft, I think, of all the big open world games I've played, is the one where it most feels like you have an impact on the world because you're building it and destroying it. Whereas Zelda, everything changes every 48 hours anyway, so everything refreshes. So you can be doing loads of cool stuff, and all that will happen is there'll be a couple of conversation changes. I mean, I get it, and I think it is really cool, and I think it is one of the better Zelda. It's one of the better Zelda games. I just think it's a shame that there are titles this year that, for me, have scratched the itch that a Zelda game previously would have. I mean, Horizon is the better Zelda game for me, because it's not the better Zelda game, is the game that I think came out at the same time as Zelda, and that's a shame because if it came out maybe a month earlier, people would be talking about it a lot more. But people are still talking about it. Maybe this is just me building up an argument in my head. I don't know, but I do really like Zelda. I'm glad everyone's really enjoying it, but I'm just surprised, I guess, that Edge last week called it the best game of all time, and it's well, the stuff that's good about it, I kind of feel like I've played in other games and it's been done better. But arguably, it's been done better in other Zelda games as well. Because if you want a great open world, go back and play Wind Waker. But anyway, that's that discussed. But thank you for your feedback at Handheld Podcast. Happy to continue the discourse, and I'm just glad everyone's enjoying their games. I was just surprised that it had been given the best game of all time, because that is a very big moniker to put on a game which other games take individual elements of and do them better, is the argument I was guessing at. So that's why Chris hates Zelda. In other news, I finished Telltale's Batman Season 1 yesterday. I'm not going to harp on about it too much because there were people like Colin who haven't played it yet, but I wanted to just give a brief review because obviously Season 2 is coming out now. And if people are wondering whether they should pick up Season 1, especially if you can get it for cheap, I would recommend it. I think it's got some really good decisions, and I think it's interesting the way they integrate bad guys into the story. It's very good at foreshadowing and planting seeds. I don't think it's my favorite Telltale game, Evs. I don't think it's my favorite Batman game, Evs, but it has got some cool conversations in it. It's interesting as well that it feels like they really well play the dichotomy between Bruce Wayne and Batman. And, is Batman a Bruce Wayne disguise, or is Bruce Wayne a Batman disguise? And I think the tease for Season 2, although I've not played any Season 2 yet, was really well done at the end. And I like that hopefully it feels like the decisions you make will have a lasting effect on the rest of the world. Although whether that is the case, we'll have to see when I play Season 2. We're going to talk more about Telltale later on because we're going to be talking about it in group chat. Let's do the Nintendo 3DS news. When Colin gets here, we'll talk iPhone, but we'll do that in a bit. So the first thing to us is that last week we had Monster Hunter Stories was released on the 3DS to fairly good reviews. I've seen lots of 7s, lots of 8s. I've not picked it up myself because I've not really got time because, I mean, when you're as in deep as to Splatoon as I am, you find it hard to find time for anything else. But Monster Hunter Stories seems to be getting good reviews. The 3DS subreddit seem to really like it. It's doing well in terms of 3DS games of this year as well. The critic reviews are averaging around a 70, and the user reviews are averaging around an 80. Although there's a lot less user reviews, interestingly enough. And I would love to know if you're playing this game, what you think of it, because it's the first big 3DS release we've had in a while. Yeah, I'm keen to know what you think. Fairly good reviews, 70s, 80s, comparisons to Pokemon, but with a kind of Monster Hunter twist. However, the even better news is that Samus Returns, which comes out at the end of this week, I think it's out on the 15th. Someone might correct me on that. The reviews are already out on it, though, and the reviews are overwhelmingly very good, in the high 80s. Some people are giving it a perfect score. On the Metacritic here, you can read the reviews of it. You can also watch gameplay over there as well. It does look like a really good game. I'm going to pick it up later on in the year. I might ask for it for Christmas, simply because there's a lot to play at the moment for me. But I'm glad that people are enjoying this game, and I would love to know whether you at home are excited for our @Handheld Podcast on Twitter. And I really hope this thing sells well, because if it sells well, that will mean, hopefully, that we get more 2D Metroid in the future. I know it's a remake, but I mean, we have got Metroid Prime 4 on the way. That was talked about at E3, although that's a very long time away. However, it's not unreasonable, surely, that if this game does well, other 2D Metroids would be remastered and remade for the 3DS. Metroid Fusion, anyone? That kind of was done in the Ambassador packs. So yeah, fingers crossed. And then hopefully we'll get that sweet Metroid Prime Hunters 2 coming around, because Metroid Prime Hunters is the best Metroid game of all time. Just going to drop that one and move on. Pokemon, the movie I Choose You, comes out later this year. It's the 20th entry in the Pokemon film series. I couldn't name more than 2. However, it's kind of a celebration of the Ash and Pikachu story. And because of this, they have announced that a special Pikachu wearing Ash's hat will be released in Pokemon Sun and Pokemon Moon. Starts September the 19th. You have to go to Pokemon.com and that will give you a code. Basically, as well, if you go on different months, there's going to be different ones released, because obviously Ash's Pikachu has worn different hats throughout the years. And there is also a this is like sorry, I lost my train of thought. Different weeks. So 19th of September through 25th September gets you the original hat from Kanto and Johto. The week after that is Hoenn. The week after that is Sinnoh. The week after that is Unova. The week after that is Kalos. The week after that is Alola. And if you attend the movie of Pokemon movie I Choose You, you get a special Ash's Pikachu Pokemon card, which looks quite interesting. I've been playing a lot of Pokemon TCG at the moment because GX cards have just come out in the UK. And they're really overpowered. I don't know. I wonder how much our podcast crosses into Pokemon the trading card game, but I love the trading card game. I play a lot of it. And I've just been upgrading my deck to a Sylveon GX cross Solaglio GX, which is really good. Side note, I'm really enjoying it. But yes, so if you attend the screening of Pokemon Lots on Ultra Moon, you're going to be able to get a QR code, which will grant you a Pichu hat, a Pichu wearing that hat, and also you'll be able to get this card. In Pokemon movies and Pikachu cards has been a long-running thing. Go to Pokemon.com if you want more information on that. Let's move. We're whizzing through a bit here. But it's lonely. Let's move to the Switch news. Now, some interesting stuff happening over on the old Nintendo Switch, and I've been playing a lot of Splatoon this week. I've been trying to claw I don't know if you've been following the saga on my Instagram, probably not, because that's wanky as fuck, but I've been trying to increase my Splatoon Salmon Run ranking. I did have it up to professional at one point, which is the top, and then it dropped because of a really crappy internet issue I was having over a couple of days. It just drops and drops and drops, and I got some bad luck, and I wasn't playing very well. And now I'm back to Overachiever. I'm trying to climb the ranks again. I love Salmon Run. I hit my 60th hour on Splatoon 2 last week, and I'm still just playing. Basically, whenever Salmon Run is open, that's me. That's me done. There'll be a weekend. If I've not got anything planned, Salmon Run is on. Sorry, can't go to this. I'm playing Salmon Run. But this weekend, Salmon Run looks slightly different because there's a tweet on the Japanese Splatoon page, and I've translated this into English using Bing. Basically, into the Reddit and got an actual translation, because basically the drops that you get don't appear to be fixed. They're going to be random. So when you load Salmon Run this weekend from 16th o'clock through to the 17th at 3 o'clock, the weapons you get are going to be randomly distributed, so it's not necessarily fixed, which I think is quite an interesting way of playing the game. Apparently there's going to be drops you can pick up in the level as well, though it's not known what those actual drops will be. So whether they're new weapons or whether you spawn and then go and have to find weapons, that could be quite an interesting way of playing it, although it's going to be really annoying if you're playing with other people who aren't as friendly as you are. Watch this space, but this does look quite exciting, and I'm looking forward to them shaking up the Salmon Run formula a bit, because obviously the game's been out 2 months now, and I do love it. I love Salmon Run, but I am keen to try something a bit different. And let's do it now. Oh,
hey,
hi,
how you doing? Sorry, can't get through. Can I just ask you a question, Chris? How the hell?
Yeah.
How the hell did you beat me in Fight List on the Game of Thrones question? You don't watch Game of Thrones.
I was creaming myself when that guy. I'm just gonna find it on Fight
I had a safe 24 points, and I was like, you know what? There's no way he doesn't watch it. Fucking cruise into a win. I was 27. How the hell? I think you had one more than me, which got you a 3 pointer.
Here's what happened, Colin.
Right.
I only watched the first few series, so I only remembered the characters from the first few series.
Yeah, I could tell. All the 3 pointers.
Yeah, which meant that when I played Viserys Targaryen, I got a sweet 3 points for Viserys.
Jeez. I was very impressed.
Well done. Ned Stark.
Oh my god, that's the most obvious one. I was thinking back to the last episode I watched, and I was trying to list all those characters. That's the problem.
I know. Welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing? What have I missed?
You've missed my review of Telltale's Batman.
Oh, I thought you already played it.
I finished it yesterday.
It's weird that you say that, because I've been continuing to play the first episode on my iPhone, on iOS.
Well, you missed my review, but if you want to hear it, you can go back earlier on the podcast. You've missed my 3DS.
Just give me a signal. Is it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
It's out of 10 thumbs up. I'd give it maybe 7 thumbs up.
You just held up like 10 fingers, then changed it quickly.
Yeah, no, I liked it. It's not my favorite Telltale, but I think they are sowing seeds for a good universe, and there was some nice character stuff in there.
Yeah, I'm halfway through the first episode. It seems okay. I'm noticing something already, just very quickly. I know you've already spoke about this, but I've noticed like what seems to be typical of Telltale is that you want to go one direction with a character in a conversation, but then the game's steering you off in a direction it wants you to go in.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what you do; it's always going to go in that way, which is a bit annoying.
It's
So,
really interesting when you see people's review their answers at the end, because basically there are certain characters where the split is 50-50, and then there's a certain character in there where everyone does the same thing. And I think it was 93% of.
oh my god! I don't know it's ever been that high. That's crazy.
I know, mad, isn't it? So not been that high since the Michonne decision. Do you want to burn to death or do you want to leave the room?
Oh my god, that was the worst. The worst. Anyway, please continue what you were saying, Chris. Sorry, I interrupted.
That's all right. So I was just talking about the Switch mobile app, which has been fairly lambasted from gamers, but did get an update yesterday, which meant that basically they've improved the way voice chat works, because now it continues when other apps are open, and it will continue during sleep mode as well. So before, if you were voice chatting with someone and then you had you wanted to go on Facebook or whatever, it just closed everything. It was shit. Whereas now you can do things at once whilst having it. So it's a more friendly app for sure. I mean, there's still issues with it, but it is becoming a better deal. And I suppose as more games come out, they're going to use it more. Do you want me to? I'll finish my Switch news, Colin, and then you can do Vita news.
Yes, please do.
Well, there's actually two things. First of all, we should say there's a Nintendo Direct happening in about an hour, which is going to basically mean that everything we talk about is outdated. But 45 minutes of material, including time dedicated to Super Mario Odyssey. I assume they're also going to talk a little bit about titles for 3DS. Probably Pokemon Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon is going to get 5-10 minutes. Maybe some Metroid stuff as well. A trailer or something like that. But yeah, 45 minutes is a long time.
Do you think we're going to get any new games?
I think release dates. I think we'll get a release date for Skyrim for sure. Yes. I think we'll get a release date for Rocket League.
Rocket League, honestly.
I don't think.
Oh, I want to Switch so bad. So bad.
I know. I don't think they're going to announce new stuff because there's still stuff coming out before Christmas. I think they want to. I think this is the hype everyone up before Christmas episode.
Will they reveal that?
And then they'll do one in January.
Are they going to announce that there will actually be more than 2 consoles to buy around the country within the next few months? That'd be good.
Maybe Zelda DLC news as well. Watch this space.
Why do you hate Zelda, Chris? Why do you hate Zelda? What's going on?
We've done that. You've missed that, Colin.
I'm sorry. Move on then. Move on.
Whilst you weren't here. You have to listen to the podcast or youtube.com, search Heroes of Handheld. Hey, this is cool.
Right, what's cool?
Rockstar Games on November the 14th are bringing LA Noire to Switch, featuring the complete original game and additional DLC with enhancements including a Joy-Con mode with gyroscopic controls, HD rumble, and new camera lenses, as well as touch controls for portable detective work. Have you played LA Noire?
Yes, I did. I played it a couple of years ago, completed it. I loved it, apart from the ending, which was pretty shocking. But apart from that, I did enjoy it.
Do you think it'll suit the Switch?
I think it's a weird choice for Switch, to be honest with you. I think, when you go into the different crime scenes and you have to inspect certain items.
I've never played it, but I have heard of it.
You play acting as if you had. Oh boy, it's definitely worth picking up. If you've not played it, it's only a couple of quid now. I mean, obviously you'll probably get it on Switch, but you can get it on any other console for like 3-4 quid, which is pretty good. There's bits in LA Noire where you look at crime scenes, you pick up items, you have to spin them round to find clues, and you have to properly examine them. I think that'll work really well on the Switch, especially in the tablet mode, because it's obviously touchscreen. You can move it around, and that'd be quite cool. I mean, in terms of navigating the world, I think that'll be a bit strange. I think it's a bit of an odd game to bring to Switch, to be honest with you, Chris. I think they
I wonder if it's an experiment for Rockstar, and I think if it does well, it's not unreasonable that GTA 5 or Red Dead, probably not Red Dead Redemption, but GTA 5 possibly.
I would have thought they would have brought something like Red Dead Redemption to the Switch, because you think about it, they got the new game coming out next year. It's similar. I know it's not a similar tone, but it's an open world game like Skyrim, which is also coming to Switch. Seems a bit of a strange choice. I mean, they also revealed. I know this is off topic from Switch, but they're releasing a remastered version, aren't they, of LA Noire?
Yes, so that's for PS4 as well. So the Switch version is remastered. There's a PS4 and Xbox One version, which is upgraded to 1080p and 4K and stuff, and a version for the Vive as well.
I don't think they need to upgrade. It's already pretty good at the time. It was state of the art motion capture when they did it because you had to judge people's facial expressions. But yeah, I mean, this would be cool. I mean, you know, the more games that come to Switch, the better. And I think you are right. Is obviously Rockstar testing the waters a little bit to see if they'll bring their future releases. But yeah, I mean, Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto would be pretty cool on the Switch. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, I'm more keen for. I mean, I want to try LA Noire, but I'm more excited for something like Red Dead coming to Switch.
I'd definitely recommend it if it's a reasonable price. I definitely, if you've never played it before, it'd be a good time to start because it is it's a good game, good story, really interesting. It's one of those games where it's fun, but it's also a really good story as well. Apart from the ending, we don't talk about the ending. Pretty shocking.
Okay.
Anyway,
what's happening on the world of PS Vita? And then after this, Colin, after this, we'll talk about iPhone.
Yes.
And then after that, we're going to talk about group chat.
Yes, sounds good. Right, so I've got two bits of news I want to tell you about. A game that's coming to PlayStation Vita this winter. A little game, which is a fantastic game, fantastic name, Sir Eats a Lot, which sounds like me coming back from work this evening, which is a 2D adventure platformer, which is developed by a Hamburg-based company called Behind the Stone. Great name. It's coming exclusively to PS Vita this winter. This has been announced by the publisher. It's going to be available digitally through the PS Store and physically via limited edition sold exclusively at play-asia.com. There you go. There's a little description here about the game and what it's all about. So let's quickly read through this. You are the corpulent and righteous knight Sir Eats-a-Lot. Traverse through various unique and colourful levels to put a stop to the evil witch Hysterica, who has poisoned the Glutington Kingdom with sour lemonade. Throughout your journey, you will meet numerous quirky characters and help those suffering under the oppression of Hysterica's minions. Puzzles are tied to the Vita's unique hardware features, like the touchscreen and blah, blah. So, yeah, it's got a bit of a unique story here, and it's going to utilize the PlayStation Vita's unique features. So you'll be able to touch the screen, you'll be able to touch the back pad, and you'll be able to put your Vita over a light and then do that for some reason. Do you get the reference?
That's an Uncharted reference. Very good.
Yeah. Great. Yeah, and there's a teaser trailer here as well, which we'll put into the article as well. It's going to be playable at the Tokyo Game Show as well, which is going to be from the 21st to the 24th of September. So it's nice to see a game. I didn't realize actually until reading this article that it's coming exclusively to PlayStation Vita. That's really cool. There's a really nice little picture here. I guess this is of the tutorial level because it's got a picture of the Sir Eats-a-Lot, who's a very fat knight. In the background, there's a little image of a PlayStation Vita and someone tapping the screen. So obviously that's a tutorial level. So I think that's really cool. Art style looks nice. And yeah, it's just nice to hear games coming to Vita. So definitely check that out. I'm sure we'll get more news as we head nearer to the release date this winter, which, it's weird to think that winter officially starts on like the 20th of December or something, doesn't it? It's very strange.
Yeah, I always think it starts earlier than that, but because it runs really late.
So winter actually starts on 21st of December. That's crazy. That's almost Christmas. Weird. And it ends in March. Insane. Anyway, I've got one more bit of news I just want to quickly discuss with you from the world of PlayStation Vita, and that is about a game called Samurai Showdown 5 Special. I assume it's 5. I doubt it's called V. It comes out, let's have a look. This article says tomorrow, but when was this published? This is from the PlayStation blog. Let's assume it's out now. So Samurai Showdown Special 5. And this is a fighting game, I believe, that's coming out to Vita and PlayStation 4. It's going to be, I believe it's cross-buy and cross-play, which is nice. In the US, it's going to cost $14.99. And the developer, who are Game Studio One SNK Corporation. Don't trust anything with corporation in its name, Chris. Don't trust it.
I was going to say that sounds kind of shady.
I'm
sure they're great.
Yeah, it's a 2D brawler game. It looks similar to your typical. What's that one that everyone goes on about? That Street Fighter. It looks a bit like Street Fighter. There's like a variety of like knights and goblins and wizards and things like that. And there's health bars at the top, and you have to knock them out. So a bit like Tekken without the 3D. Talking of Tekken, who was your favorite character in Tekken? Did you ever play Tekken?
Yeah, probably. I like Heihachi. I like Law.
Was he the one with the epic beard? Heihachi.
Yeah. The really long bit. He's in PlayStation All Stars.
Oh yes, yeah.
I like the panda. I like playing as the bear and the panda.
There's two. There was the panda and the bear, wasn't there? It's a bit strange. Were they like related? I know they're obviously different
I think
species.
they were, yeah, but I think they were the same character, just with a different skin.
Yeah. Um, there was one that was like a block of wood. Do you remember the wood one? It was just like this weird tree.
Yes, it was like a target, wasn't it? And it
Yeah.
did it absorb or copy powers?
I don't know. Oh, I'm just looking at it. It had like balls for fists, and it had like a round head. Like it's like a Tin Man, but made of wood. Oh, it's called
Yeah, and it was
Luki's Looking
like
Gym.
a dummy type thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was really weird. And there's also just one last one last look down memory lane of Tekken. There was a weird little dragon as well that was called Gon. Do you remember this? There's a
I
little
don't remember him.
lizard. There's a weird little lizard. Honestly, search Gon on Google. It's very strange. There's all these like epic ninjas and characters, and then the weird little lizard. Very odd. Anyway, so yeah, this game is coming out. It's out already actually, and there's loads of different game modes, and it's a brawler. Really cool graphics. Looks very awesome, and go check it out. It's out on PlayStation Vita and PS4 cross-buy and cross-play, which is very, very cool. Right, should we talk about iOS? Are we going to talk about iOS?
Yeah. So, did you watch the tell me? Did you watch the conference? Are you going to spend $1,000 on a new phone?
Oh dear. I didn't watch the conference because I knew I didn't need. All you need to do after these conferences is just search the hashtag on Twitter. Then you get all the information you need. And from what I can gather, there was pretty much nothing new apart from a name change, no button, and face recognition, and that pretty much sums up the whole thing, from what I can gather. So if anyone missed this, I'm sure if you're into your tech and you're on social media, you probably saw this. Apple did an event, as they usually do, and they announced a new phone. They announced the iPhone 8 and the iPhone 8 Plus, which conveniently comes after iPhone 7 and 7 Plus. But they've completely skipped 9, because I think Microsoft did this as well, didn't they, of their operating system?
Yeah,
They went from Windows 8 to Windows...
Yeah, I've heard that in tech you just skipped its ninth iteration. I think it's like a luck thing, because there wasn't Windows 9, there was only Windows 8 and Windows 10, wasn't there?
Yeah, they missed 9 altogether, and then Apple have done the same thing. So what they've done, they've said it's like pretty much a celebration, I guess, of it being 10 years since the release of the very first iPhone. Can't believe it's been 10 years. And they've released the iPhone, well, announced the iPhone X. And the big gimmick of this new phone, it's a big old screen, and there is no home button. It's just a big old screen, and it's supposed to be dust resistant, water resistant. A big new feature is that and this is with the iPhone 8 as well, there's going to be face recognition. So rather than, you've got the thumbprints that you can put on your iPhone and it unlocks, you'll now be able to scan your face, which I know is, because it's the first iteration. I'm sure this was the case when they first introduced the thumbprint ID. I bet the first iteration is going to be terrible and it's not going to work at all. And to highlight that, there was actually a really funny moment in the press conference that I saw where the guy was on stage talking about face recognition and it didn't work. It was very funny. He picked up the phone, he put it to its face, it didn't work. So he locked it, unlocked it, tried it again. And because it didn't recognize his face, he had to use the pad to enter his code, which was very funny. And there's a video of that as well, which we'll put on the article as well. So that's very funny. But the big thing, the big controversial matter, obviously, Apple phones are always expensive. If you buy the phone without a contract, you're always going to be shedding a lot of money. But it's absolutely ridiculous how much they are wanting people to spend if they want the iPhone X. Chris, how much are they wanting people to pay to get the iPhone X?
Well, I haven't seen it in the UK, but I've seen it.
They actually announced the UK prices earlier on this evening. Let me just get them.
Today.
Yeah, I know the cheapest one. The cheapest model you can get, £999.
Ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous.
Unbelievable.
One of the things I wanted to say is that if you missed the event, someone in the Apple subreddit did a really good breakdown of everything announced. A guy called EXJR, or a girl called EXJR, because they announced a new Apple Watch and a new Apple TV as well, and a game coming first to Apple TV by the makers of Journey, which looks quite interesting.
Oh, I didn't see that.
But obviously, most people here are focusing on the phones. Wireless charging looks quite interesting, but
oh yes, I saw that. That's really cool. But I'm assuming you'll probably have to buy an Apple docking station or something, or does that come with the phone? Did they announce that, or
I'm not sure. I can't. I imagine my assumption would be you just get wired charging, and then you have to pay an
quite
extra for a
separately.
pad, probably.
Well, this is something that the iPhone watch has already, wireless charging, I believe. You just place the watch on top of this little pad and it charges it, because someone I know's got a watch.
It's not. I mean, it's wireless, but you do have to have it on a particular point of the pad. Whereas it's not truly wireless, because if truly wireless ones, you get a big pad and you can put it anywhere. Whereas this is like very much, it has to be on the right bit. But it is kind of wireless, but not how you might think. Because like I've got an Apple Watch, and my friend Lee and Helen have got a wireless charging lamp where you put your phone on the base of the lamp.
Right.
And it's not like that. It's more like a movable port, I guess, that you still have to kind of dock it on.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I'm just having a look here. I've got all the prices for all the iPhones. So, yeah, as I said, the cheapest. I mean, one thing to make you aware of: there's only going to be 2 editions of the iPhone X. There'll be a 64 GB version and a 256 GB version. So you get a lot of memory on it. I mean, 64 GB is a lot, to be fair. So the cheapest one is $999. The most expensive one, which is going to be the 256 GB one, is 1,149. So for about 149 quid more, you're getting 3 times the storage, pretty much. So I don't know, it might even be if you're willing to lay down that amount of money on an iPhone X, you're probably worth going for the more expensive one, to be fair. And release date is going to be November the 3rd, so you can pre-order from the 27th of October. In terms of the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, there wasn't really many new features. It's just another new iPhone, you know. I thought quite a funny photo, which I found on Reddit in our article. Did you click that image in the article?
It
says so true. Have a look. I thought it was quite funny. Very simple. I thought it was quite funny.
Very funny. The joke is that the iPhone 8 is like the iPhone 7.
And they're pretty much exactly the same thing. So, yeah, the iPhone X is interesting. A lot of money, though. Interesting to see how well the face recognition works. Anyway, I didn't hear anything about the watch, actually. You're right. People have just been focusing on the phone. So, I mean, did you get any details on the watch? Because, I mean, that's something I'm interested in further down the line.
You can click the link on our article, but it looks like the Apple Watch 3 price of $400 is a non-LTE version, which is due with mobile signal strength at 329. It comes out in a week and a bit's time. It's got new heart rate features, new colors. They've redesigned parts of it. They said thicker, and they were like, it's thicker by approximately 2 sheets of A4 paper. But it's, the same watch that love, but a faster processor, better battery life, watch OS 3 as a default. I mean, it does look interesting, but my watch is fine as it is. I'm not looking at upgrading anytime soon.
No, you don't need to, really. I mean, I think the iWatches are something that you can hold on for a bit longer than, say, the phone. I mean, after about a couple of years, you probably need a new iPhone. But how long have you had your watch for? No, it's not very long, is it? About a year?
Nowhere near a year. Like 3 or 4 months.
Right. Oh, really? I thought you had longer than that.
Yeah.
That's good. Right. So, I mean, that's all things Apple. Anything else you want to mention about that press conference? I mean, it's pretty standard fare, really. I think.
Yeah. The thing is, people are kicking off about a £1,000 phone, but fair play to Apple, because if people are going to buy it, like, of course they're going to charge that price. They are a business, and I find it a little frustrating when people complain. Well, I mean, obviously you're more than entitled to complain about the price if you're interested in buying it, and if that puts you off. But don't be like, I can't believe Apple are charging this price, because people are going to buy it. You vote with your wallet. And if you buy it, and if you invest in this company, you're going to make them. Colin.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, people moan about the price, but people are going to be there on the first day, queuing up, laying down the cash, because Apple have got these fanboys, and Apple have always been the trendsetters. They don't follow the pack. They sort of lead the way, don't they? So they'll charge what they like. They know people are going to pay it, and they'll be like, If you don't want to pay it, fine. Someone else will.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. And here's the other thing is that the other reaction I saw a lot of was people saying, well, Samsung will be doing this for years. And it's like, okay, yeah, Samsung, curved display, facial recognition, other phones do it. But Apple products aren't necessarily technologically the most far ahead of the pack. But what they are is incredibly reliable, incredibly simple to use, and you don't have to mess around with any.
Cool.
They're trendy. They're cool. Yeah. They work. If other people have got iPhones, it's really like it makes things a lot easier. If you've got Macs and watches, it syncs up. And I know people love Android, and I loved Android for years. I had Android phones for 4 or 5 years, and I changed to Apple a year and a bit ago. And it is restrictive, but it just is very simple, and it's cleaner and it's prettier, and you don't download an app and it's like, oh, you don't have the right version of Android for this, because guess what? If an app isn't on the right version of iOS, that people just aren't going to download it. Like the market on iOS is really interesting, and I'm not going to buy $1,000 phone. I'm not going to buy an iPhone 8, but people will buy it, and I hope they enjoy their new phones.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing with Apple, isn't it? What I find is they'll get a technology that Samsung have released first, and they'll sort of define it and make it better, if that makes sense. So Samsung will bring out like a new technology, and Apple will get it and make it better, make it cooler and easier to use. I mean, it'll be interesting to see the reviews when the iPhone X comes out and whether it warrants the high price tag. But until then, we move on. Shall we talk about group chat?
Yes. So, Colin. Last week, we asked people, we wanted to know what your desert island game would be. We asked you to email us. We also put it out on Twitter as well. Good responses. Enjoyed it. Keen. Colin Byrne. Let's do... So, do you want to do us, or do you want to do the listeners first?
So let's do the listeners. Who should we start with? We've got a list of requests. But thank you for everyone who messaged us this week. Really appreciate your feedback. Let's start from the bottom upwards, shall we? I'm going to start with... are we going to do that thing again where we...
No, just do the names.
At Ludex_Phil on Twitter, Philip Hawkins. My desert island game, Sonic and Knuckles, and in brackets, with Sonic 3 plugged into top. Old school classic. Now that's a good choice. I agree. I did like that game. I also loved plugging Sonic 3 into the top because I felt really cool, because it's like a tower of games in your Sega device. But that's fair enough. But then once you played it all through once, it's not going to take you long to complete, is it?
So I know Phil. He's a friend. He's a friend of mine. He's a good guy. I like him a lot. And when I saw this, I was like, to me, that is such a choice of someone who clearly for them, and maybe I'm putting words in someone's mouth, but you can read a lot out of someone from their response to this game. And this is someone who you can tell used to love playing games a lot, but probably doesn't get as much time now.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it's like that to me is a really good pick. And it's like, here's a game. I know I like it. I know I wasn't as good at it as I perhaps could have been. By the time you get off that desert island, you're going to be able to speedrun the fuck out of Green Hill Zone 1.
And there was a weird level where you had to jump on mushrooms, I remember. And you had to spin on things. Yeah. It's a good game, though.
Yeah, a good choice. Thanks very much, Phil. Next up was S. MacDougall. Being a bit cheeky, because I put in the tweet, I was like, what game would you take to a desert island? Brackets, you've got the console too, smart ass, to kind of be like. And then S. MacDougall was like, well, I'd go for World of Warcraft, because if I can play a console, we've probably got the internet, and then I can just ask for help. Which, I mean, is fair enough. Like,
loophole.
Good pick as well. Loophole, like it. Good lateral thinking. Good pick.
Yeah, I think we can allow internet connection, but you can't use it for web browsing. It has to be an Ethernet cable that's plugged into your console. Yeah, just for gaming. WoW's a really good choice, actually, because that'll keep you occupied for years. Years.
Mm.
Especially if you've got all the expansions as well. Honestly, you'll be playing that forever. Because can you max out? I'm sure you can max out your leveling well, but it must take such a long. It must be such a long grind to do that. Yeah, good choice. Didn't think about WoW. Right. So next one we had was from Roberto N. At he's I'm gonna say Roberto N. Just Roberto N. Great name. He said Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Spent close to 100 hours in that game, but never got the true ending. Wonderful experience. Hope for HD remaster. I've never
I
played.
didn't realize. Yeah, like I've played a bit of Peace Walker. I didn't realize you could play 100 hours and not get the true ending. That is incredible.
How many endings are there? Must be quite a few if you spent 100 hours in it.
It would be interesting to see if there is going to be a HD remaster as well, because obviously things are so weird between Kojima and Metal Gear Solid, and like there's that Metal Gear game coming out that people seem to hate.
Oh, this is zombies, isn't it? Like some weird resistance style game.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, that's a good pick. I think that's a very good choice. Colin, one more.
Yes, read it to me.
So our good pal, mentioned once on the podcast already, Nylar is a good guy on Twitter. Search for him. He's got some good thoughts about games. His Desert Island game. So he's torn between No Man's Sky and Binding of Isaac because he's put lots of hours in, played them a lot, and he's recommending Binding of Isaac on Switch as well. But it's going to pick No Man's Sky because, quote, the scale and the scope of the game is incredible. I love exploring the universe. The feeling of entering a new system is still great, even after a year of playing it. Now, I'm really not surprised, but that's such a good thing to hear because when that game came out and people were universally shitting on it, I'm so glad to hear that it's found like a fan base and that like real people are enjoying it and getting their teeth into it.
People don't like to just explore. People want an end game, and I don't think there was one with No Man's Sky, was it? I think you just got to the center of the universe and then it just started again.
But if you've got all the time in the world, it'd be great. It'd be great.
Oh yeah, it'd be great looking at all these different things, different worlds. That's a really good choice, actually. I mean, yeah, you're right. It's difficult because in this day and age, when people are playing video games, they just want a story. They want an ending, a beginning, an ending, and a beginning, a middle, and an end. But when you're on the desert island forever, that's the sort of game you want. Just explore, and just lose yourself, and forget you're stranded on a desert island with crabs in your pants.
Colin,
in 2 cents of the word. Right. So let's say what games will we do? Who's going to go first? It's going to be me or you.
What would you go for?
My choice, if I was on a desert island, now I thought long and I actually had this prepared last week because I thought we were answering last week, so it's been pretty easy actually. My answer, the game I would take with me if I was on a desert island would be The Sims.
Oh, great pick. But which Sims?
Now, I was going to ask you about this. We had loopholes before about, internet connection. I know we said one game, but can we take the trilogy or can we only take one of the Sims games? Just the one. Now, I'm going to say The Sims #1, the first ever one. Reason for that is I played the shit out of The Sims 1 back in the day. I spent absolutely hours creating a house, getting a job, getting relationships, burning the houses down and killing the whole family. Honestly, I spent hours doing all of that fun stuff. And I just had such a great time doing it. And when you just it's like you're creating a world and you can put it into live mode and just let the characters interact with themselves and do their own thing. And the unpredictable nature of it, where one sim could set fire to the building, one could drown themselves, one could get electrocuted. I just had so much fun. That kept me entertained for hours. I would love to know how many hours I spent with that game in my childhood. And I just know if I was to be on a desert island, getting The Sims fresh, no families built, creating a whole neighborhood, getting them all jobs and creating mansions and not using any of the cheats, actually getting money the good old fashioned way, not using Rosebud. I think that would be a fantastic game to keep my mind occupied for days, weeks, months, and maybe even years. So yeah, The Sims 1 is my game. I'd love to play The Sims again, the very first one. I never really got into the second and third ones and all the iterations after that. It was always the first one for me. That was the best. So much fun. So much fun. Thoughts?
It's tricky. I think Sims is a very good pick. I think you're going to be quite lonely playing it though, because the Sims don't talk back to you, Colin.
Most games don't talk back to you, Chris.
Well, and here's why you're all idiots. Because there is a clear choice for this. You're trapped on a desert island, you're lonely, you're by yourself, you're stuck there potentially forever. So what game do you pick? You pick Animal Crossing New Leaf. Because then you're not going to be lonely, because Eric the Eagle will always speak to you because he wants your coconut shirt.
Oh my God. I should have seen this coming, because I remember it must have been towards the beginning when we first started this podcast. You honestly went on about New Leaf forever.
Yeah, New Leaf remains one of my favorite 3DS games. And I just think if you could play that game forever, you would. You would just, and every time you got too much, just delete your town, start again.
Yeah, and there's hours and hours of content to be had, isn't there?
And here's the thing, right? New Leaf, can't play during the day because I'm at work, so I'll miss out on certain things. Not an issue when you're on a desert island. It can become your actual life.
That is a good pick.
Just play it until you die.
It's actually one of those games you could actually play like forever, isn't it? Like it just keeps on going. Like there's no end game to it, is there?
Exactly. So that's the thing. That's why I guess it's similar to No Man's Sky in that sense. Yeah. Good pick, Chris. Thanks.
Good pick, Chris. Well done. You're the best.
Next week, Colin.
Yes.
And we want your answers on this at Handheld Podcast. Here's handheld at gmail.com if you want to write a longer answer, but at Handheld Podcast is fine. If you want to write a shorter answer. Colin.
Yes.
Because I finished Batman this week, and because you're still playing the first episode on your thing, what franchise would you like Telltale to tackle next? Now, I'm not talking about ones they've already done. This isn't your chance to beg for a Borderlands sequel. Give me it straight. Telltale get the keys to any franchise in the world. What are you going to give it them? And how do you see, why would that be a good pick?
That's a great question. Be really interested to know what people's thoughts are on that as well. Because if they're like free reign on any franchise around the world, around the globe, anything, that'd be brilliant to know what your thoughts are on that. So you can let us know your thoughts by tweeting at Handheld Podcast, by going to Heroes of Handheld heroesofhandheld.wordpress.com, going to contact us, sending us your comment that way. Email us heroesofhandheld@gmail.com. How else? Facebook, Google Plus, all over the place. We're on Twitter at Handheld Podcast, by the way. Let us know your thoughts. Which franchise would you love to see Telltale tackle next? Let us know. We'll discuss it next week. The best ones will receive a free Heroes of Handheld badge in the post.
Yeah, okay, you're paying for it.
No regret if we had Heroes of Handheld badges.
One day.
Still waiting for those T-shirts I was going to make episode 100. One day. One day, maybe episode 200, eh? Maybe. Right, I think we're done. We are done. And the beauty of this is because I've said the ways people can contact us, there's nothing more left to say.
Are we done?
I think this is just the end, isn't it?
Have a nice week. Colin, you know I'm not on next Wednesday because I'm watching Kingsman.
Oh, right. Sarnia it is then. Sarnia it is. Are we still recording? We are still recording. Can I stop the broadcast? Bye, everyone. Bye.
Bye.